What is up, everybody, and welcome back to episode 37 of the LoofCast. I didn't really have anything else planned after that sentence. So, we're having a great day. I'm sorry, my mind went blank because right before the recording, my left arm started malfunctioning and kept, breaking itself. To all the audio listeners who don't know that we record this in VR, that's going to sound extremely strange to you, but we are recording in VR chat. But yeah, we are back today with another topic involving games and especially indie games. So this will be pretty fun. But before we get into all that, we're going to do our customary little small talk. So how have you been since we last recorded?
Tired.
I feel it.
Very tired.
I feel it.
Not only am I trying to find a new job at the moment, but I've been helping my friend build his PC, trying to find the parts for it, finding out that we bought one of the wrong parts, which is, just his motherboard. So that's great.
I feel that as well. I've been doing that for somebody too.
Yep. But I did have a good weekend last weekend. For those of you who don't know, Moist Critical. Yeah, he's a streamer, owner of Moist Esports. He has multiple teams throughout gaming, shit like that, right? His Apex team made it to the World Champions.
Hell yeah.
World Championship. I know how to speak words. And he held his first ever live event.
Hell yeah.
Down at I guess I could say it. It was because you could just look it up anywhere. It was up at the Strass Center. That's nearby me. I got to meet him.
Not too close, so nobody go looking.
Yeah, don't look. I don't live in that area. It's fine.
He lives at my house.
Got to meet the guy. He's pretty sick. If you think that like Charlie is any different than he is in real life, then in his videos, he's not. He's the exact same person.
I was gonna say, nah. He doesn't get, like, I don't watch him often, but he gives me the sense of like somebody who just does not have like a separate creative personality. That dude's just a vibe.
No, that's just him. Yeah.
Yeah. I love him.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a 3-day event. The only part that sucked is I had the first 2 days I got up. It started super early in the morning, so the first one started at 7:45. And the other one started at 8. Now the third day started at 11, but I didn't know that, didn't read that. So guess who showed up there at 7 a.m.?
Yep.
Yeah.
That'll do it. That'll definitely do it.
It was great. So yeah, I had bug bites all on my legs, so I drove to a Publix nearby, got some hydrocortisone, and sat in my car for 3 hours.
There you go. Listen, God knows I've done that.
Yeah. Yeah, overall fun experience. I won't go too long into that. How about you? Have you been lately? I'm
gonna be honest. I have done almost jack shit over the last month. I've worked a bit on content, and then I bought a car.
Well, there you go.
So that yeah. I mean, it's nice. I will say, it's definitely it's nice to fit inside of a vehicle for once. For context, I used to drive a Prius C, and for anybody who knows what a Prius C is, you know how tiny they are. If you don't know what one looks like, Google it. No, I'm not shitting you. Those are the dimensions of it. Look it up.
Yep.
And it's fucking tiny. And I'm for context as well, I'm not a small person. I'm 6'3". It is impossible for me to fit inside of a Prius comfortably. I would put that seat all the way back, and there's still not enough room between me and the pedals, which was a nightmare. Mm-hmm. But I ended up buying a used 2017 RAV4. So it's nice to kind of be able to sit up now in a car and just kind of be comfortable in one. And I don't know, I just love it. It's great.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
You know what's funny? I 100% relate to that. Because the car I had beforehand, or the one I had now, was a Mazda 3 hatchback from 2007.
Yeah.
My head would always touch the ceiling at all times, especially because of if you've seen what I actually look like, you know my hair just is a giant poof.
Yeah.
So like my hair would always just crush on the ceiling. And in my new car, I thought I would avoid that because it's much bigger. It's a 1994 Buick Grand Century.
There you go.
Nope, I have the exact same problem.
That's fair. Like I will say I definitely feel that in my RAV4 currently I do have like a similar problem where I can feel my head brushing the ceiling occasionally, but in my Prius it sucked because like my head was up against it, so every time I'd go over a bump or something it would just be like my head would slam it and I'm like, all right, that didn't feel good. Like,
yep.
And for those who don't know, I live in San Francisco, which has a lot of potholes and shit, so I'd go over one and my head would just slam up into the ceiling and be like, all right, that felt nice.
Yeah, man, you mentioned potholes. I cannot wait until you drive around in Florida. Especially
it's gonna be a nightmare.
My area. Oh
it's
my
gonna be
god,
a nightmare.
it's so awful.
Here's the thing. I feel like it's gonna be similar to San Francisco though, because we don't patch our roads here.
Yeah, we don't either.
Like the problem is like
we fill the. So every once in a while we might fill them with concrete, but that does nothing. It just chunks away again, and then.
No,
it's just a bigger pothole than it was before.
It's about the same here. Like one of the problems we had was fucking like we used to just fill our potholes like crazy, and then about 10 years ago today our gas and electric company on the coast here blew up a fucking neighborhood, and now we just don't touch our roads and we let them deal with it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love to see it.
Yeah, and if those of you who are wondering how the fuck did they get away with blowing up a neighborhood, look up the I believe it was the 2014 San Bruno explosion.
Interesting.
Basically our electric and gas company did zero maintenance on their pipes. They just left them alone, and eventually one of the pipes ruptured and it blew up, I believe. It blew up a neighborhood, but it leveled, I believe, about 4 or 5 houses. And burned, I think, like 20 or 30 more.
Yeah,
it was a fucking disaster. Right. Oh, it was a disaster. I remember, I remember the news reports when they were still coming in. Everybody had thought a plane had crashed because the neighborhood was along the exit runway of the San Bruno airport.
Ooh,
so everybody just thought that a plane had like fucked up during takeoff and like crashed down into the neighborhood. And I was like, oh. So that was a fun time.
That's pretty fucked.
Oh yeah, it was a fucking nightmare. But yeah, I guess with that being that, you ready to jump into the topic of today?
Yeah, I guess I'll introduce it since I was the one who kind of brung it up. Yeah.
I'd just like to state real quick before we jump into it, real quick. If you are here because you saw the tags in the description relating to a certain game, I don't want to hear it. I know why you might be here. I don't want to hear it if you're here to defend Starfield. I do not want to hear it.
If you're one of the people that we're about to talk about, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it.
That's my official statement.
That's mine as well. I don't want to hear it. If you're here to defend Starfield after the shit they pulled, you're in the wrong. Out of here.
So, with that being said, that is our first subject of the day. Let's talk about Starfield. The most anticipated, probably one of the most anticipated games of the year.
Absolutely.
It's made by Bethesda. Same people who brung you Skyrim, Fallout, shit like. Wait, did you say Destiny 2?
Is it not Bethesda?
No, that's Bungie.
Bungie, fuck. Okay, no, it's fine. I said Bungie originally. We're not gonna worry about it. Shut the fuck up. Bungie, Bethesda. They're close enough. They're close enough.
Yeah. But yeah, we're gonna be talking about Starfield here because I have a huge problem with the game.
That makes
multiple,
2 of us.
Actually. Yeah, just to put this in perspective, this game was supposed to be the next huge next-gen space game where you can explore anywhere and everything, and there's thousands of planets for you to explore.
Think about it like this, in for context. When you remember the release of GTA 5 like a decade ago.
Yeah.
Like, think about it like this. GTA 5 was released a decade ago, and a while into the GTA release, they said they were doing next-gen GTA 5 when they ported it to PC, and then they changed almost absolutely nothing. Oh.
Yeah. Oh. Have a seat there, partner.
The camera screen's in the way, motherfucker.
Don't worry about that. It's just technical difficulties. Anyways.
It's fine. Everything's 100% okay. But yeah, like, think
so
about it in context of like that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So yeah, no, you're good. So yeah, a lot of people were super excited about this game. They were like, "Oh, it's gonna be what No Man's Sky never was," which we're gonna be mentioning that game a bunch during this discussion.
Oh, yeah.
Because hey, guess what? Everyone forgot, and I did initially. Everyone forgot that this is Bethesda. This is a Tim Howard game. So the game came out, and what a surprise, Lucy. It's glitchy. There's bugs everywhere.
And they haven't delivered on half their promises.
Correct. Now, if the community around it was in support of this and and just pointing out the issues and the flaws and shit like that, I would be perfectly fine. Because to be honest, the game, I'm definitely not saying the game is bad. It is not a bad game.
I also want to state, when games come out, they are expected to be buggy at first too.
Yeah, no problem.
Like,
that's fine. Shit happens, bro.
Yes.
Well, but to be honest with you, I kind of expected a lot higher expectations, considering their whole marketing scheme was the fact that they've been working on this game for 25 years. But in reality, that just means they've been making Elder Scrolls for 25 years and just making their game development better, even though it questionably has not. Because the last game before this that was made specifically by Bethesda was Fallout 76. And we all know how that went.
Yeah, I never played it, but I do remember how the internet reacted to that. Oh boy.
So, just to name a couple, just the problem I have with it, all right? First off, one of the things that they said, and I know this is a small detail, but still, one of the things that they said is that they were... Yeah. One of the things that they said was going to be about their water physics, right? Their water physics were going to be nice. They were going to be super, super realistic and shit like that. They're not.
I remember,
if you don't believe...
Oof sent me a clip. I'll put it in here.
Indeed.
Like, yeah, I'll put it in right here. But Oof sent me a clip, and I like, here's the thing. This is coming from a guy who hadn't heard of Starfield until he mentioned it to me. I think I had seen its name once in passing and know nothing about it. And he sends me this clip, and I did read this about their promise about water physics and stuff. And it's of this dude jumping in a lake. There's not even a splash.
There's no splash.
Like, no
people
ripple
jump
effects.
in the water.
Yeah, no ripple effects, no splash, nothing. I don't even think I heard anything.
Yeah.
I think it was like dead silent, like just straight through into the water and he floated.
Yep. And now you think the response of this video is like, oh yeah, they didn't meet up what they promised. And sure, good 30% of the comments were that. You want to know what the other 70% were? The
bootlickers.
The amount of cope in this game is absolutely nuts. The top comment I saw on that video is, if I wanted realistic water physics, I'd go play Subnautica. Motherfucker.
Here's
this
the
is
thing.
not
it's not about the physics. It's about not delivering what you promised. That's the thing. Like, here's the thing.
Yeah.
If you wanted to say, like, okay, you know, eventually we want this game to have that, that's okay. But saying that upon release you're gonna have that and then not doing it is like, seriously?
Mm-hmm.
And people wonder why nowadays people have such low expectations for games. Like, it's because half the time, like, think back a decade ago. If a company said they were going to do something, like, the games were of the highest expectation. Think back to GTA 5's release. I'm aware that most of us were probably in, like, our early teens. But, like, if you think back to it as well, the amount of hype for that game was insane. Like nowadays, if you match that level of hype to nowadays, that would have broken the internet.
Yeah,
like
it would have.
Yeah, it would have. And like people were like excited as hell for that game. And like that company met the expectations of the player base. That game blew up when it came out.
Now, I will say I'll put a qualifier on that because I know one of you motherfuckers is going to the comments right now. Oh, but the online didn't work for a month and had to be fixed. Yes.
It's how it works.
But guess what?
They'd never done online before in GTA.
Yeah, but guess what? And well, they have. GTA 4 had online. But here's the thing. They did fix they did. They did fix it. And
That's true.
And once it was fixed, it was great.
and think about it. After they fixed it, a decade later, that game is still one of the most popular ones out there today.
Correct.
It is purely because of the online.
It is the second best-selling game of all time.
Yeah, purely because of the online aspect of it.
That's correct. You heard me. It is sold more copies than fucking Tetris. I can get the numbers right now.
What's the first best-selling?
Best. You should know it. you know what it is.
I was gonna say I have two theories. It's either a Nintendo game or it's Minecraft.
Nope, it's Minecraft. No,
okay.
it's Minecraft.
I was gonna say it was one of the two. I didn't know which. I just knew it was one of those two.
Yeah.
It makes sense that it's Minecraft though. But like
so,
oh, good.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll make a correction. It is not the best-selling game of all time, copies-wise, but it has made the most money. Money-wise. If we're talking about money, Tetris is at 100 million as of. This is as of what? These numbers of 2020, I believe.
All right.
Yeah. These numbers are as of 2020. Tetris has made $100 million. The GTA 5 has made 175 mil at number 2. And number 1 is Minecraft at 238 million.
Jesus Christ.
On copies alone.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Like it is just ridiculous.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, back to Starfield. Got a little off topic there, but
a little off topic. But yeah, it's insane.
Another problem I have with the game, right, is the way you explore around the world, right?
Yeah.
I thought the way that they were going to do this is right. You'll be able to fly from planet to planet. You land on the planet.
Kind of like
around you, right?
Kind of like No Man's Sky, or what's that other one?
It's literally just No Man's Sky. Yes.
Yeah. Or what's that other one? That other space game. God damn it! What's it called?
Oh! I know what you're talking about. How can I not remember the name of that? Hang on. I got it.
Look it up.
Space game.
I did a stream of it not too long ago. How do I not remember this?
Yeah. How do I not? Oh, dude, this is gonna take me a second. What is the name of this fucking game? Star Citizen.
That's it. It has the same beginning name.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but like Star Citizen or No Man's Sky, like those like allow you to openly explore the universe. And all I've really seen from a lot of like the Starfield game is like, you know, I saw a clip at one point of a dude like walking into his ship and some NPCs took it off for him, and it like he walks into like the first place with windows and all of a sudden he's in the atmosphere. It's like, really?
Yep. He just falls through his ship. Yep.
No, he didn't even fall through his ship. He was climbing up through his ship, but he was just in the atmosphere by the time he got up there. And it was like, really?
To give you guys a perspective, it looks like if you guys have ever played Destiny 2, it's Destiny 2 click and travel, pick a location, go there. Yeah. The only part that's different is sometimes you can sit in the atmosphere, point at where you want to land. Yeah. Other than that, it is point and click, wait for a loading screen.
And another one like that is Warframe. If we want to talk about space games, Warframe is also like that, you know? And I mean, there's nothing inherently wrong with that, But I believe that Starfield did intentionally say space travel in one of the things, right?
They did.
Yeah, like they did
Yeah.
initially mention that there would be space travel, except you can't travel through space. You just kind of go to different worlds, and it's like, really?
Yeah. Yeah, instead of just regular space travel like we would expect, it's loading screen simulator. Click here, go here.
Yeah. Like Warframe did a
And
lot
I
of
think
that too. And
that's
like I enjoyed Warframe. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with that, but
yeah.
yeah. And I
And
mean, I
back
want
when
to
I played
reiterate as
Destiny
well.
2,
Yeah. And I mean, I want to reiterate as well, like, you know, as much as I'm trashing Starfield, it's like, I don't think it's a bad game. I'm just upset at the fact that they didn't deliver on a lot of the stuff they said they were going to. And then on top of that, I'm more so disappointed in the fan base, if I'm being honest. And
yeah, the Bethesda fan cope is so bad.
well, the
It's
reason I
so
say that
bad.
as well is not just because of that, but it's also just the fact of like, think about it like this, for example, right? You know, say you hired somebody to do work for you, right? Because this
Mhm.
isn't too far off from it, right? But say you hired
Mhm.
somebody to do a job for you. Say it's remodeling your house. And they promised you that they would be able to do everything you asked for and more. And you know, when they get done finally, you go to take a look at your house and they've done maybe a half-assed job and covered it up with a bunch of like just like fun little aspects of things, right?
Yeah,
That's
pretty
what
much.
Starfield did. And
Yeah.
it's not so much angering to me that the fact they did that is like the fact that the player base isn't demanding better. Like
Yeah.
I remember when No Man's Sky came out, that fan base was like incredibly mad. And I mean they had a right to be. The game what was promised was a goddamn nightmare. But you know what No Man's
It
Sky devs
was.
did? They took the criticism. They just said, "You know what? You guys are right. We didn't deliver on what we said we would." And they turned that game around. A couple years later, that game had one of the biggest player bases it ever had.
Yeah.
Like, and that game
And I
is
think it was
still
this
popping off today.
I think it actually peaked this year. For
It did.
context, No
It
Man's Sky
did.
came out in 2016,
No,
and they are
this
still doing major updates for that game
yeah.
because people enjoy it. Like I
Well,
just re-downloaded it.
because the dev team literally just said, "Yeah, we fucked up." And I
Mhm.
remember because I was one of the people who bought that game in 2016 or 2017, and it
Yeah.
was a nightmare. I remember it.
Mhm.
It was a fucking disaster. And like,
Yep.
shout out to those devs. They did amazing in turning it around. Like they took the
Mhm.
criticism, they rolled with the punches, and they said, we're gonna make it better for you because that's what you guys deserve since you bought our game." And they did. They turned
Yep.
around, and it became one of the biggest space games out there for a while.
Yeah. And I think this is my biggest problem with the game. All right. And I also have a tweet to coincide with this. Um, when you land on a planet, right? We'll just take I don't know. Say we land on a planet that kind of looks like Earth, right? And I land in Florida. Okay? I land in the ye old Florida, man. I land in Orlando, right? Sure, you can explore the city around, right? The city that's generated around, but I believe it is a 5 kilometer. There's a 5 kilometer barrier around the area that is generated for you, right? If you are not at a major landing point where there's like a mission to do or a major city, like a waypoint, basically, right?
You're
And you
just
just
fucked
land in the middle of
to a
nowhere.
confined area.
Well, you are stuck in a 5 kilometer bubble, and when you get to that wall, right, and you're like, hey, there's a mountain over there that's beyond this wall. I want to go explore it. So you're like, okay, let me get back in my ship and fly over there, right? You'd think, oh, I'll just fly to that mountain, have
No,
the
because it'll
generated
be a
area
different
move to
generated
there.
area.
That's correct.
Yep.
Every time you land, it regenerates. It is basically a brand new seed.
That's
So you
so
get a whole
stupid.
entirely new generated area of nothing. There is nothing out there. Literally nothing.
So you can't even go back to a place that you enjoyed. Like you just once you leave,
Correct.
that whatever the hell was there is now gone. That sucks.
Yep. And it's a tweet that Lucy sent to me the other day. It is by at Nakey Jakey. And he says 25 hours in and exploration in Starfield is utterly dreadful. You land on a planet, it generates a bunch of locations, most of them like 400 meters away, if not more, and you walk. There is no ship to fly, there is no rover to drive, there's not even a space horse for you to mount to keep traversal engaging. You mindlessly sprint and boost jump through a soulless field of nothing to reach a copy and pasted destination that very rarely feels worth the effort. This is such a drastic step back from the amazing sense of exploration and wonder that Skyrim and Fallout 4 inspired that it truly baffles me. I want to like this game so bad, and I feel for him. I legitimately want to like this game.
Here's the thing.
I'm one of the biggest space nerds of my friend group. Okay, the next big purchase I want to make is literally buying a telescope, but the cheapest nice one I can get is $500. So it's quite expensive. I can't like this game. I can't.
It's
just the fact that it's so limiting.
Here's the thing. As well for me, like, I'm going to say this right now. I am not as big on space as a lot of other people, but one thing I absolutely do love is exploration. So any game that allows me to just allows me to fucking go out and explore these thousands of different worlds and everything, you can bet your ass I'm going to do it. Because here's the thing. If there's one thing I've loved, and it's like, I'm going to go off on like a bit of like a 5-minute tangent here real quick. Now, for those who don't know, I'm a writer, all right? Like, writing is what I do. I've written several shows that I plan on putting on YouTube soon enough, and I've written several novels. Well, not novels. I've written several short stories, but I'm turning them into novels. But
we'll call them novellas.
No, that's the word. Thank you. Yeah, I've written several novellas, but it's the thing of like, I love exploration and stuff like that. I love experiencing these thousands of different things because each one in their own mind to me is like a story. And that's one thing I love about Star Citizen, for example. Every planet in that is unique. And on top of that, every planet there stays the same whenever you go. All the outposts are always there, and they're always like, well, I'll admit they're not all that different, but they are, in a sense, different locations, different things, and you do all of these different missions. Like, there's a sense of realism to it, which I like. But also on top of that, like, hell, I've seen clips of Star Citizen of people with actual joysticks, and they are racing through canyons with ships and shit like that. Now, if a game Star Citizen can do that, what is stopping Starfield from doing that? Like, the fact that you can only get into a 5-kilometer radius is just stupid to me. And take another one, for example. Like, here's the thing. Star Citizen is only a game that takes place in a single galaxy. Take No Man's Sky, for example. You can do the same thing in that one. Racing through canyons, along planets, along all of this stuff. But you jump through thousands of different galaxies, and the game generates them based on what you enjoy. The game generates its own galaxies. There is an infinite number that you could run into. And if a game like No Man's Sky, which had one of the worst openings I've ever seen a game have, if a game like No Man's Sky can turn around and do that, why the hell can't Starfield? Like again, my sense, like Oof said, I can't like a game like Starfield. Not when it's something like that feels unfinished, that feels like it should have more. But again, like, ask for more. I'm not saying riot against them. I'm not saying say fuck it, give up on the game, don't play it anymore. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that ask for more. Demand that they actually fix the game and deliver on the promises that they made, because it's what they should be doing.
Yeah, one of the biggest excuses that people are saying, and one of the major problems of the game, the character animations, the facial expressions are so broken. They most of the time they don't make sense. You'll see characters' eyes roll in the back of their heads, their eyelids pop through. It's just basic shit like that. And a lot of people's excuse is, oh, but Bethesda's not been always hasn't been good with character animations. Okay, but
So
you've been a
who
gaming
cares?
company for 25 plus fucking years. Fix it,
Like, I'll tell you this right now as well.
please.
I'll tell you this right now as well. Rockstar hasn't been good with animating facial stuff for GTA 5 Online, for example. Like, you know, the online characters, anytime they go to make faces and stuff, it looks pretty fucking stupid, I'll admit. But
Mhm.
they've been a gaming company for how long? And they're working on GTA 6 right now. I'm expecting that to be so much better. It's about improvement. It's about them fixing the shit they were supposed to deliver on.
Mhm. Yeah. And
Um,
on a quick side note, I will say, I'm actually very excited for GTA 6,
I am too.
especially for one of the things that they mentioned that is coming out. Well, they didn't even really mention. We just kind of found. Um, here. How about this, Lucy? When they were remaking their AI system, especially with interaction with the player and both the world around it, especially like the cops and shit like that, right? You know how easy it was to just trick the cops in GTA 5 and you just,
Yeah, and this one I've
be able
heard
to
they're
just
not
drive
going
off
to.
and they'll never find you,
And this one
right?
I heard it's
But
not as
guess
easy.
what? Oh yeah. Apparently, for their AI, they had to make their own patent for their AI system, which by the way is still not revealed until the game comes out.
That's terrifying.
The patent has been pretty much classified.
That is
All they
terrifying.
basically said it is super advanced and will adapt to whatever the player is doing and learn. And that is fucking crazy.
That's
I'm
horrifying
very
too. I'm
excited for
excited
that.
for that. And I will say another
Yeah.
thing too is like, God, I lost my train of thought.
You got this. You got this.
Okay. Uh,
We were
I think I got it. Well,
okay.
fuck.
Starfield.
Star
Starfield. We're talking about the AI animations.
Starfield. Right. Right. Character animations.
Mm-hmm.
Even if GTA 6 like doesn't deliver that well on it, it's like at the end of the day, it's about improvement. Like people don't like GTA
Mm-hmm.
6, they're going to be audible about it. I know they are for how long they've had to wait. Like if GTA 6 ends up being
Yeah.
disappointing, the internet's going to firebomb Rockstar. And I mean, here's the
The
thing. Knowing
only
Rockstar, like here's the thing. Rockstar is man enough to admit when they're wrong sometimes. Not all the time they've done it, but they have done it occasionally
That's
and been
correct.
like, yeah, we fucked up, we'll admit, and we're going to roll this back. So I
Yeah.
feel like this time, with GTA being such a highly expected game, like they would listen. And I mean, for the fucking price point that GTA 6 is rumored to be, they better fucking listen.
No, don't believe that rumor. I saw that too. If anyone believes that they're really going to sell that game for $140, you're out of your fucking mind.
Not not
And the
not
reason that
140.
what was it?
Uh, Wait, was there one for 140?
That's what I keep hearing.
Oh, I saw one listed at like 100.
Yeah, here's the thing. Here's the thing. There is no way in hell that they will do that. The game will
140.
be
Most people wouldn't buy that shit.
I will assure you the game is going to be $70. The reason why people are saying that the game is going to be up in price, like between $100 and $140, something, whatever, right, is because they've spent, I think, let me pull up the numbers. It's in the billions.
Oh yeah, no,
It is the most,
they recently crossed $1 billion in development for it.
yeah, let's see. Budget. Is it, let me get like an actual official source here.
Yeah, they recently, from what I heard, crossed over $1 billion in development. I think like 2-3 months ago.
Yeah. Okay. So it's anywhere. The numbers I keep seeing, it is between $1 and $2 billion, maybe even more than that. They've spent a lot of money, which I will fully admit. I'll fully admit this. This puts a lot of pressure on them
It
because if this
does.
game does come out and it is buggy as hell
If it
and it is
bombs, they're
shit,
fucked.
but and I get that, right? But do you and people are like, yeah, so they're gonna sell the game for an up price so they can make all their money back.
Here's the thing.
Do you really think that they're not gonna make their money back? You really think that there, bud? What the most anticipated game of the decade, let alone probably the century so far. You really think they're not going to make their money back?
Oh no, absolutely. Like I want to say this as well too. Like they're not concerned in the slightest. Because here's the thing: even if they don't make their money back from initial sales on GTA 6, which is highly unlikely, mind you, like you have to remember they have thousands of other things. Fucking shark cards, for example. You got to remember the shit in their game is so highly expensive that a bunch of kids will generally spend like a couple hundred on fucking their GTA in-game cash.
Yeah,
like
which I will say, I hope they change.
I really
hope
hope
they
they don't
change
do
the
that.
economy up.
Yeah, I really hope they don't do the same economy as GTA 5 because like 90%
Here's the thing,
of people have had to go to modding at this point for how insanely expensive that game is, and it's like unless you spend
here's the thing,
like countless hours grinding away, you're not going to reach anything.
Yeah, here's the thing. I wouldn't mind if they put in the same economy system as GTA 5 as long as they make it easier to make that much money.
True.
Because
like, I don't want
I
to
can
have to do 16 heists in a row to afford one car. Like that's just insane.
Yeah, that's just it is very much extreme, and that's one of the problems with GTA 5. It just is.
Yeah.
But we are going a little off track here, and we do have another topic to get to.
We do.
So, and this is a big one. So let's dive right into it. Just in short, we're not telling you to not buy Starfield. If you want to enjoy the story on the game, is actually very good. I've watched a little bit of it. It's very good. The little itty bitty things that you can find, such as Paradoso, which is on one of the planets. There's like this huge hotel that's super highly detailed. One of the missions, like just to give you a little small details, right? The coffee shop and the tea shop have a rivalry, and the tea shop wants you to, or one of the shops wants you to steal the recipe from the other, and you go on through this whole mission, whole side mission, right off of the main story, and that part of the game does seem fun. However, the main problems of the game, I think, overshine that.
Absolutely,
it's kind of what we're saying.
Absolutely, and I mean, end of the day, like I hope to God they'll improve. We'll see how it goes, but yeah. As for the second topic, for those who haven't heard yet, this actually isn't about a single game, but this actually affects thousands of games and dev companies. And the topic is Unity's recent announcement. Now, if you haven't heard, Unity Engine is going to start charging game devs for fresh installs. And what that means is every time that a game is installed, after it, and this is directly words from Unity, not myself. After the game reaches a certain threshold of installs or monetary value, Unity will start to take cuts from them. Now, basically, what that means is as soon as you, as a dev, are successful with your game, they're going to rob you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Literally, that's just like the exact way I just described it is basically company fancy terms for saying we're going to steal all your money the second you become successful. And I just want to start out with on this topic is like a lot of you are thinking, oh, well, this isn't going to affect me. Like, I only follow big games. You have to be aware that how many big games are made on Unity, Assassin's Creed being one of them.
Here, yeah, I was about to say here. I got the list.
Here's a fucking list. Yeah, this is all the games.
Let me go off. I'm gonna go off on a quick list here, real quick.
These are just some of the games. Too.
These are just some. Yes, some of the games on Unity. Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond / Shining Pearl, Pokemon Go, Fate Go, Among Us, Fall Guys, Wastelands 2 and 3. The Ori series, so Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori the Will of the Wisps, Firewatch, Oddworld Soulstorm and New and Tasty, Ollie World, Outer Worlds, Battletoads, City Skylines, Elder Scrolls Legend, which is the mobile game, Gwent, the Witcher card game, Cult of the Lamb, Marvel Snap, Roller Drome, Ultra Kill, Dusk, Pinball Parlor, Cuphead, Beat Saber, Rust, Subnautica 1 and 2, my friend Pedro, I think I said Among Us already, the classic Doom, the Unity edition, Bendy and the Ink Machine, Dream Daddy, a dad dating simulator, Life is Strange, Before the Storm, Night in the Woods, Hive Swap, Little Witch Academia, Chamber of Time, Rick and Morty, the Virtual Reality, the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe Edition, one that's close to my heart as well as Subnautica, Kerbal Space Program 1 and 2, and Pony Island, and lastly, the game that me and Lucy are sitting in right now recording this session.
That's
VR
right.
chat is run off of Unity.
That's right. So I just want everybody to take a second and think about any of the games you just heard. Because here's the thing. Whether they're free or paid, I just want you to imagine those games having to be priced, I don't know, $10, $20 higher, or even the free games having to be priced at 10, 20 bucks because Unity decided to be greedy and rob the dev companies who are trying to provide you guys with free and cheap fun games. Now, imagine that. Like, imagine this is VR chat is a free game. Imagine me and Oof having to pay because simply we wanted to host a podcast in this. It's insane, right?
Off of a game that has been free since its actual conception.
Literally. This game has not once ever been paid. And it's insane.
I will put a qualifier on this. Yes, there are things you can buy in game. You can buy the VR chat plus, but that is not what we're talking about. We're talking about the base game itself.
The base game. Like, I will say, I play it. I have never once paid for anything in this game. So
never.
If I can get into it and not pay for anything, anyone else can. But
I have 300 hours in this game. Never paid for it.
Yep. But yeah, no, it's all that. It's mental. Like, I want to just pull something up real quick that I had seen from Unity itself. Here we are. All right, so this is something that I wanted to bring up real quick that I found when Oof and I were talking earlier about this topic. So on September 13th, so yesterday, Unity tweets out and says, "We want to acknowledge the confusion and frustration we heard after we announced our new runtime fee policy." Now, after Unity had announced this, the internet, understandably, blew up at them. Like, almost every social media that Unity has was firebombed. People were pissed. And it's understandable. But this is what they said in just a few keywords here. Now, their first point was who was impacted by the price increase. And they said it's a targeted price increase. They said more than 90% of their customers will not be affected by the change. And then they followed that up with people who will be impacted are generally those who have found a substantial scale in downloads and revenue and have reached both our install and revenue thresholds. So it means a low or zero fee for creators who not have this is their own words. This means a low or no fee for creators who have not found scale success yet, and a modest one-time fee for those who have. So they're literally just admitting the fact they're going to rob you the second you become successful, number one. And number two, there's one more thing I want to highlight real quick.
Go ahead.
But there's one more thing that I want to highlight. That 90% of our users, they're not counting game makers. They are counting everybody who has ever used Unity. Now, I want to say this right now. I have friends that are in my community right now that don't make games, but were fucking around with Unity just because they could. So that 90% of people is largely people who have just used Unity, never planned on releasing a game, and have just been playing around with it. So almost every indie dev studio, almost every studio that you know that makes games in Unity is within that 10% that is going to be fucked. And maybe there's a 5%, like 5% of companies that will not hit that threshold and will be completely fine. But other than that, they're just screwed. Like, they get nothing.
And the thing that I found baffling about this change, right? And this is really based on like one of probably my favorite game of all time, Subnautica, right? Say Subnautica.
Or no,
yes,
not, right?
correct. Yeah, correct. Yeah,
I think so.
Say Subnautica. I did. It's on the list. Don't worry.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Say Subnautica wanted to say they wanted to avoid this problem, right? They don't want this pay per install, because keep in mind, this isn't the only pay per install charge that they're getting already. If you put a game on Steam, they take a portion of it. If you put a game on Epic, they take a portion of it.
And I will say,
any game store that you put it on, it takes a portion already. So now on top of that, if you use this engine, now you're going to get even more taken out of your revenue.
and I will say real quick, I understand why game stores like Steam and Epic do charge. Because here's the thing, they actually are providing a service. Like they're providing a platform that hosts your game and hosts all the necessary servers and everything and runs it. Or not runs it, sorry. Bad choice of words, in my opinion. But they're hosting the necessary servers to get your game out there and provide communalized areas for your games to be with others. So like, I understand why they take a small fee, but Unity, they have no right. And I mean, I get what you're saying. You might say it's hypocritical of me to say that, but at the end of the day, it's not. Unity is providing an engine. That is it. They are not providing all of the tools you're going to need to build a game. They are providing an engine for you to build it on.
And the argument of that is, oh, but you're using their assets, you're using their program to make the game. Yeah, but here's the thing: 90% of the assets, I will say this: a majority of the assets that people are made that are made in Unity are not only community made and are uploaded to the workshop, which then can be purchased from there or gotten for free. It is assets that people have made themselves from the ground up and coded it themselves.
Yeah, Unity hasn't made most of their assets.
Yeah, sure, they've used the engine as a tool to put everything all together, but the things in the game are original to the creators.
Yeah, no, it's like
most of the time.
Yeah, no, they literally have nothing. Like Unity, compared to what the community has made for their assets, has almost nothing in comparison, and it's insane to me. Like that they think that they like even have the right to do this. Like here's the thing. Let's go back to the Steam analogy, right? Like, you know, how Steam chart takes a fee. Imagine this, right? Imagine this. Steam provided, like, let's say for example Steam didn't provide all the service that they do. Like they didn't provide an entire like web-based page where you could add friends and everything like that, and you had to do it all through games. And all Steam did was provide like its own page on its own application that took you to the dev page for you to have to download it from the actual game dev's website. And they charge it a fee for that. That's about what that's like.
Yeah.
Like Steam basically would charge a fee for game developers to have it on their page, but they wouldn't provide any download availability. They would only just provide you links to the dev pages. That's basically what Unity is doing. They're providing you just almost jack shit, except for an engine.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, just to give you a little bit of an example. I will send this tweet to Lucy so you can put it up on screen, because I don't know what actual company this is from, but a person on Reddit posted. Yeah, a person on Reddit by the name of no_storm731 says Unity wants 108% of their gross revenue. And what this means is their studio is focused on making games, mobile games for kids, right? The only way they have to monetize most of the games are free, right? They don't display advertisements to kids because they're against it, and they don't fucking want to. Their only way to monetize those games is through in-app purchases, right? According to their numbers last year, which their net revenue was basically $1 million and some change, right? If this Unity change were to be in effect based on those numbers, they would owe 9% of their revenue to Unity. In addition, this is 109%.
They would own an extra 9%, pretty much.
Correct. To Unity, because it is their assets.
Yep.
How does that make any sense?
So basically the company would just be going bankrupt. they'd be
Yeah,
fucked.
pretty much.
Like, there's literally nothing they could do to that. And I mean, on
You
top
make
of
$1 million,
that,
they're in the red.
yeah. Like, how does that make any sense? I want everybody to just think about this real quick. Especially here, if you are on the side of Unity, I need you to think about something real quick for me. Imagine you do a full day's work at your job. And all of a sudden your job's just like, hey, you did great work, but you used all of our tools to do so. So since you used our tools, our computers, or whatever the hell you do at your job, we're going to take almost all of your money back, if not all of it.
Yep.
Like, say for example, you work at a job where your job is data input, for example, and you use a company specified computer. Now, imagine that your company, at the end of your workday, you've done all your data input for the day, you've done everything there. And the company looks at you and says, we're going to be taking your paycheck back, actually, to repay for all the power usage that you just did with our company. Despite that being their own computer and their own building, you have to pay the power bill because you use their power.
Yep.
That is basically what this is. And
yep. It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. And I just want, like, in just in case that isn't clear enough as well for the people who are still on Unity's side here, if anybody is at this point,
I would be surprised.
I would be very surprised. But yeah, just imagine that. Like, you doing a job and the company takes whatever the hell you made and takes up almost all of it because you used their resources.
Yep.
Half of which resources are not even made by your company, but are given free to the company because they needed it for a job.
Yep.
It is insane. And there is one more thing I want to bring up here as well.
Mm-hmm.
But
and before he brings that up, I want to talk about the community response to this, because there are very good things happening community-wise that nearly everyone that is running on Unity as a major game has already responded to this and has said basically either A, we can no longer trust Unity based on the changes that they've made, or basically go fuck yourself. I literally can quote a Facepunch dev right
there is.
now.
I'm looking at it right now. Facepunch had uploaded a graphic that said, in short, Unity can get fucked.
No, there is no in short. It literally says Unity can get fucked, and it is posted by Alistar McFarlane, which is, one second, I can get his actual title here in a second. Yeah. He is the producer at Facepunch, and he's working on Rust right now.
And I think my favorite thing about it is his entire tweet just says, these developer statements on Unity are getting too long. Too long didn't read, and then it's just a graphic that says Facepunch. Unity can get fucked. Facepunch Studios. And it's I'll post a photo of it right here. It's so glorious. I love it.
Now, here's one of the things I am a little concerned about. There are some companies that have been strange. I know it's only been what, 24 hours since that statement has come out, and maybe
it's been longer than 24.
Yeah, maybe they're talking to a legal team about what they should say first, and then going to. We'll have to see. We'll have to wait for this to develop for more. But like I was talking about earlier,
on September 11th or 12th.
Okay. So
the 12th. Here we are.
Yeah. So there are two main companies that I'm kind of concerned hasn't said anything yet. First off,
one of them is VR Chat. Is it not? Yeah, I was gonna say
VR Chat has said nothing.
They've been dead silent.
As of I think 40 minutes from this tweet, from the time of us recording this, they actually just posted an update.
They posted several things.
Clearly,
they're active.
Yeah, it's not like they're inactive. They are there, and they have to be aware of this situation, right? Not only that, Unknown Games or Unknown Worlds, the developer of Subnautica, also hasn't said anything. More, I think that the reason why they haven't said anything yet, not trying really to defend them here, but I think the reason why is because their previous two titles are on Unity. Their new title that has already been announced that it exists, right, is going to be on Unreal Engine 5 anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I won't say Unreal Engine 5, but they at least confirmed the fact that it's going to be in Unreal. There's a
Yeah.
couple job descriptions on their website that says they're looking for people
Experienced in Unreal.
with skills in Unreal. Correct.
Yeah. It's still just
Yeah.
like, in my opinion, and I don't know if Unity will actually pull this, but I would not be surprised if they did. Uh, it's kind of shocking to me that some of these companies aren't calling them out despite not using their engine anymore. Because here's the thing, even previously made games can be affected by this. Now,
Correct.
the reason I say that is because, yes, if you had a game installed previously before, the change occurs, you're not going to be in trouble for it. But think about these games that are continuously growing. Think about VR chat, right? For example,
Also,
this thing takes on new users continually.
Yeah. Also, just to the point he just said, sure, you may have had the game installed already, so yes, they won't get installed for that install. But if you uninstall the game, change components of your computer, reinstall your OS, does Unity? I just had a tweet of this, and I don't remember where it went.
They do charge for it.
Yeah. Not only do they charge for that reinstall, but now this guy on Twitter was saying, I guess I have to call it X. I keep forgetting.
It's Twitter. It's Twitter. Fuck X.
I'm still calling it Twitter. But this guy was basically explaining, okay, well, first off, how are they going to determine these calculate these reinstalls, right? And secondly, in countries and states that have very strict data keeping laws, is this even legal for them to do?
Yeah.
There's so many questions to these changes, and by the way, just a quick side note as well. One of the major shareholders of Unity, right before this change was announced, sold 20,000 shares of the company.
Yep.
Before it plummeted in the last 2 days. Oh wow, really?
Yeah, they knew exactly what was going to happen.
Yeah. Sorry, you can continue. I cut you off.
No, you're good. But I also want to say, adding on to that too, about how we define and count installs, Unity did make a post about that. But I want to say something else about the new installs thing. Basically, what they said was, once you meet the 2 install and revenue thresholds, you only pay the runtime fee on new installs after January 1st, 2024. It's not perpetual. You pay once for an install, not an ongoing perpetual license royalty like a revenue share model. That's a fucking lie, because they cannot track them like that. It is nearly impossible. Yes. And I know what you're going to say. Some people are like, oh, well, what if they track the accounts? Again, they can't track it by account, because here's the thing. I have played with Unity stuff before. Right now, I'm trying to get into my Assassin's Creed thing. I can't get in because of Unity. Why? Because their accounts suck. So, if I tried to install it before logging in, I'm getting charged again and again.
Well, you're not getting charged, but the game developer
the game
is getting
devs
charged.
Sorry, but yeah.
Correct. Also, I did find the tweet that I was just talking about. That was also made by Mutahar, or at Ordinary Gamers.
Ordinary Gamers.
And we will have that up for you.
Yes, but I also want to say this, because Unity added a thing saying how we define and count installs. Now, this is where they get so much worse. This is directly their own words. Assuming the install and revenue thresholds are met, we will only count net new installs on any device starting January 1st, 2024. Notice how they said new installs on any device. So if you switch out your fucking OS, the game devs are getting charged again. Yep. You switch out your account, charged again. If you do it on a laptop with the same account, they're getting charged again.
If they have a mobile version of the game, charged again.
Yep, again. And I want to say, they have another thing right here, reinstall charges. We are not going to charge a fee for reinstalls. So that means on a single device. And then there's another thing.
But how do they determine that?
They can't. And then there's another thing here, fraudulent installs charges. We are not going to charge a fee for fraudulent installs. We will work directly with you on cases where fraud or botnets are suspected of malicious intent. How the hell are you going to keep track of that?
How?
In what world
How?
are you gonna be able to check fraudulent installs? Because here's the
Like
thing:
in play.
all somebody
Yeah,
has to do is
there's so
install like the same product on 6 different computers, and there's no way you can tell that's fraudulent. For all you know, that person has 6 different computers.
yep.
And there's another thing
Yeah,
here.
like here's an example. Here's an example. What if I make a Windows virtual machine, open Steam on that, and install a game in the virtual machine? That counts as a separate computer.
Yep.
Does that count as another install?
Yep.
Like, there's just so many things that are unclear.
It is, but I think these last 3 like points in their tweet here about how they define canon installs piss me off the most. Trials, partial play demos, and automation installs, DevOps charges. We are not going to count these towards your install count. Early access to games are not considered demos. So what they're telling me is that they're not counting demos, but they are counting demos. Because early access games are never full games. So here's the thing. A little fun fact about early access versus full releases. Those count as 2 separate things. Trust me, I have played early access to full games before, and every time they do that, it's literally just straight up early access, and then they give you another thing that leads into the full game. So they're still getting charged twice for a demo. And on top of this as well, web and streaming games, we're not going to count web and streaming games towards your install count either. Again, how the fuck would they measure that anyways? But this is the one that pisses me off the most. Charity-related installs. The pricing change and install count will not be applied to your charity bundles and initiatives. And I know you're going to wonder. I know you're going to wonder right now. Lucy, why does that piss you off? I'll tell you why. I'm not mad that they're not doing it because of charity and stuff. What I am mad is the fact that they add that in like it's some fucking like all is well sort of thing, right? I hate the fact that they add that in because they're like, oh, we're not a horrible company. We're going to be charging game devs most of their revenue. But if it's for charity, we won't. And it's like, so
yeah, you better not. It's the fact. It's the fact that I think what he's trying to say is the fact that they have to mention that in the first place. Thanks. You're not going to stay. It's sure. Thanks. You're not going to steal revenue from a charity. But let's just use an example. You're not going to steal revenue from the Thirst Project, who gives wells to Africa with the money that they raise. Oh, gee whiz. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
You're such a great hero. You're not.
To add on to it as well, like, here's the thing. It's not even the fact they mentioned it that pisses me off. It's the fact that they act like that's them doing good as well. So, to put this in perspective as well, is like, all right, think about it like this, right? You know, everybody's been hearing about the unions, the actors and the writers strike down in LA right now, right? And everybody knows about that. But I want you to take in mind this. So, think about it like this, for example. Say the writers and the actors there, they did a show or a movie for Disney. And Disney just said, all right, we're going to take most of your guys' fucking revenue from this and take it for ourselves. And then say those same actors and writers did a show for charity, but it was under Disney's production. Disney would then basically say, oh, since we're such good people, we're not going to take any of your revenue.
Oh, gee whiz, thanks.
Specifically because it's for charity, they're not doing it. And they're acting like they are good people for it. So basically what Unity is saying they're willing to do is that they're willing to let these poor fucking these poor game devs drown in debt, but they won't do it if their game is giving to charity.
Correct.
Are you serious?
To give an example, I know I keep mentioning this game, but Subnautica almost didn't happen. The game almost never finished. Back when the game was first in development and first in early access, coming out of beta, they were about to shut the studio down because they were deep in debt. The game really wasn't getting much attention, and it was like, I believe it was a staff of 1 to 3 people. I can't quite remember.
Literally.
But luckily for them, both Jacksepticeye and Markiplier found the game, did videos on it, and voila, the game actually started to have a huge player base,
and it saved them.
And it literally saved them.
And another thing,
that's why they're in the game. They're in the first two. Both of them have little figures in the first game.
And I want to say this right now.
It was a homage.
Like, imagine that Unity's change was in back then. Subnautica would have crashed and burned long before they even
It
ever got
never
it
would
into
have
beta.
existed.
Like they would have gotten
Never
it
would have
like
existed.
close to beta, and then that change would have happened, and Subnautica would have crashed and burned, and that dev team would have been
Yeah.
screwed. And another thing
Yeah.
about that as well is, like, for those of you who are interested in my YouTube channel, if you haven't seen it yet, I recommend you go check it out. But I uploaded a video recently about a game demo. This German dev company reached out to me. I don't know what engine their game is made on, but it's a beautiful it's a beautiful game. I absolutely loved the demo they sent me. It was half an hour. It was really quick. I loved it. But if that game is made on Unity, like they had to do crowdfunding in order to get like that game up and get funding for it. Because again, they are like
Right.
they've made one game before, and they're a team of 3 people.
Yeah.
Now imagine if if their game's on Unity, I feel bad for them because they are suddenly going to be fucked. Like they do not stand a chance because all that crowdfunding, I think they hit maybe about 10K above their goal for crowdfunding, which was like 36,000 euros, which is average for the type of game they're trying to make. But all of a sudden, imagine if like all that funding has to go towards Unity all of a sudden because Unity is making them pay for using their engine. Those poor game devs are going to be screwed.
Yeah.
And it's like,
That's
I feel
true.
bad for all these people. Like, I feel less bad for all the larger companies that are doing it because I'm like, at that point, whatever. But like, I feel bad for the indie developers, the ones who are struggling to make ends meet, the people who are like barely surviving because they want to make their own games and they want to do them well. And now Unity's out here basically saying, "Hey, fuck you guys. I know you're probably eating 3 times a week. I'm gonna reduce that because you're not gonna make the money."
Just to give you, just to give you an example. Now these developers are not starving. They're definitely making their money. I won't say probably not a whole ton, but Landfall games, the people who have brung you Totally Accurate Battle Simulator, the Battle Royale that they've made, and all of the Cluster Truck, all of the creations they've made, they have already made a statement saying we can no longer start new projects now. We can't because on an engine that we've been using for 10 years, we don't know if we can trust the developers now.
Yeah, and also I want to say this as well. Before, again, I really doubt anybody's on Unity's side here, but in case anybody happens to be, if you're wondering, well, maybe Unity needs the money. Their net worth is $14.2 billion. They don't need the fucking money. They could run that engine for free for the rest of our natural lives and never see a fucking hit come from it.
That's correct. Yep.
They don't need the money. I don't know. It's insane to me.
There's only I only see a few. There's very few benefits, and they're not really even benefits.
They're not even benefits.
I wouldn't even call it that. But I guess nowadays we're going to see a lot more games in engines like Unreal Engine 5 or 4, which are both free. All the all of the development tools are free, and they have a huge community of people. I believe another one is Godot. I believe that's the name of it. Let me pull this up again.
I think I heard of that one.
Godot. Mm-hmm.
But one last thing I want to add on as well is real quick before we wrap up here. One thing I do want to add is if you are miraculously somehow, if you are a small game engine that's basically listening to this is your fucking chance. Market like crazy right now because Unity is just about to take one of the biggest downfalls the industry has ever seen, because all of a sudden we are seeing hundreds of these indie dev companies just jump ship and abandon Unity, and it's deserved. But they're jumping ship, they are abandoning Unity. And if you are a small engine that not many people have heard of, even if you're a moderate sized one like Unreal, this is your fucking opportunity. Market like crazy. Show off what you offer, because this is the time where you are going to be the most helpful to these indie game devs. They are looking for new engines. They are looking for places to build the games they have been trying to make on Unity, and they are going to be looking for a new home for their games. And
if Unity does truly go through with these changes, sure, they still have time. Again, this doesn't go into effect This doesn't go into an effect until January 1st of 2024. They have
2.5
time to
months.
retract the statement. Do I really think that they're going to? Probably not.
They won't.
If you're a small game developer right now and you're developing a game in Unity right now, please, I actually beg of you. I know it's a lot. It's a lot of work. I went to college for a semester on game development. Started learning the process a little bit. I only know very basic things. Please save yourself. Go to another engine.
Like
I know that's a lot more complicated. Like I said, I know it's a lot more complicated than just a simple statement, but this will just fuck you.
Like literally,
it just
Unity is not going to hold anything back. They're like, if they go through with this, they're going to do something else. Like I'm telling you right now, they will get worse. And I mean,
yeah.
Like again, especially if you're a larger company, maybe you'll be okay. But if you were a small indie developer and you were like just like making enough to make ends meet, jump ship while you can. And I know it'll delay whatever projects you're working on, but jump ship while you can, because I guarantee you whatever delay happens is going to be so much better than whatever the hell is going to happen to you if you stick by Unity.
I agree.
Like Unity is a $14 billion company. They have no remorse about what they're about to do. They do not care.
Which is even wilder to say, because the main engine that we've been talking about, that's the alternative, Unreal Engine, is owned by Epic Games, and let's go to see how much Epic Games is worth right now.
Yeah, but I would even say, like, use Unreal at a caution, because if Unity's willing to do this, you have no idea what these other ones that are like backed by billion-dollar companies are going to do next. Like,
true. By the way, their worth is $32 billion USD.
Yep.
Epic Games. Now, I do agree with you, Lucy. However, based on the history that I have seen from
Unreal's good. No,
Epic Games, yes.
Unreal is fine.
Yes.
Like I will say that they are good, but I'm saying like any of these other engines that are backed by billion-dollar companies, just tread carefully. Do your research and make sure it's not going to be an engine that like tries to jump ship on you as soon as they feel like it. But yeah, I think that about wraps it up.
Yeah, I was about to say we should probably wrap up. It's gonna be a lot to edit for you.
We're about 10 over, but yeah. Either way, as always, we hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll be seeing you all in the next episode at the end of the month, which will be September 30th. And I mean, if any indie game devs are watching this, we'd be curious to interview you.
100%.
Both about the Unity change, but also just about like your own personal games, your own like journeys as indie developers and so forth. And I think it'd be really cool.
Like I said earlier, I did want to go to college and actually learn how to make games, specifically like more in the VR industry. I planned on going to Full Sail, but unfortunately, motivational things got in the way, and now I'm pursuing other things.
I feel that.
That doesn't mean I am also not disinterested in the topic. I 100%. If there's any game developers that hear this and want their game to be like, want it to get a little more out there, have a platform. We don't have a big platform, but at least we will make your voice heard in the way that we can.
Yeah. And I mean, it's like, again, we can't offer everything, but we want to get more out there, and we want to start making people heard, especially in the creator industry, whether it comes to content creators, game developers, so on. And I mean, if you are interested, our business email is going to be right here on the bottom of the screen, and then mine is right above it. If you would like to reach out to me personally, I do a bit of the marketing and reach outs for this podcast. So yeah. I mean, reach out to us and we'll see if we can set something up. We'd absolutely love to. But other than that, we hope you guys enjoyed. And if you guys are interested in other episodes of our podcast, go check them out. We are on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and the Amazon device that I cannot currently say because it's sitting behind me. But yeah, check it out all there. I don't know where all the buttons are on all the platforms, but if you're on YouTube, subscribe. If you're on Spotify, follow. If you're on Apple Podcasts, hit whatever the buttons are there. Interact with the podcast, share it out. It really helps our analytics, and it helps us get further out there, so we can start creating more, I guess, interesting episodes for y'all. But yeah,
Mhm.
got anything else?
Nah, that's it.
All right. Well, as always, we hope you guys enjoyed, and we will see you all in about 15 days. Peace out, y'all.
Take it easy.